Thank you, Dr. Jesse Kurian, and also the whole team of ELTI and SCERT to make me part of this teacher training program. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to get to one platform and start exchanging our ideas and experiences with this kind of state where all of us are in real lockdown physically, but virtually, yes, we are very active and we are trying to beat out the lockdown despite all the uh, problems we have been facing in the world's biggest pandemic that we have seen in our age. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. And I'm really happy to share some of my ideas and experiences with all the teachers on this particular platform. Jesse, can I start my presentation? Right. Hello, everyone.
उसी में था क्या?
Am I audible?
It's clear.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Is the screen clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Welcome to this session on online pedagogy for integrating language skills. I will be talking about how to understand the virtual classrooms in the present pandemic period. We'll talk about virtual classrooms, what they mean, and how different they are from complete online learning. We'll do short exercises related to advantages and disadvantages related to online teaching and virtual classrooms. Later in the second part of my class, we'll look at how language teaching skills are, how we understand them, proceeding to how in a virtual classroom we can teach language skills. I'll also introduce you to some OERs, online education resources, including the tools that can be used to teach language skills. Of course, as it's a practice of ELTI, this particular teacher training program will also end with an assignment today. I hope all of you have started with my Padlet assignment that I have given. So did you all get to really log into Padlet and create your own accounts? Okay.
Created one.
Yes, ma'am, we have created. I've created.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, at least couple of you, I'm sure you have done your job. I have been in and out with previous sessions of your learning with Professor Satya and Professor Santana. Both of them have given you enough inputs related to how to get on an online classroom, particularly using the cgschool.in platform. And Professor Santana has given you the details of how the minute details of planning your lesson, particularly to teach online, would help you reach your students in a better manner. Now, in the next two sessions, I will be helping you out to create your own lessons and how you can clearly execute them during your teaching. To move ahead, let's look at what virtual classrooms or e-classrooms mean. A virtual classroom is an online learning environment, and this allows teachers and students to communicate, interact, collaborate, explain, and the ideas. This is given by LearnCube. And a virtual classroom is a teaching and learning environment where participants can interact, communicate, view, and discuss presentations and engage with learning resources while working in groups, all in an online setting. Now, there are other aspects of using education technology. We also call online learning. Now, online learning is slightly different from what we call as virtual classrooms. Online learning includes what Professor Santana has already explained to you, that it includes synchronous and asynchronous classes. Now we are in a synchronous classroom now, and the asynchronous classroom also can be something which online learning can include. So online learning, in a way, what we are talking about includes both this virtual and asynchronous classes. Now, when I say virtual classes, it is very similar to what we are doing now. We meet online, not physically, but we are meeting here on a platform that is created by ELTI, and we are talking and learning at a time. So this kind of classroom is called as virtual classroom. And when we say distance learning, no issues of corporal punishments, particularly because of virtual classrooms. And the major difficulty is monitoring or ensuring learning outcomes. Now we look at other aspects of virtual classrooms in the next slide. Here, I would like all of you to join this poll and hello, are you able to see this poll? Yes. I request all of you to join this poll using the link that I'm going to give you in the chat. Now you will have to log into pollev.com/Suvarna LAKSH123. Please log into this.
I have once again the link
It's already there in the chat.
in chat.
You
Yeah,
want
yeah.
me?
Okay.
It's provided in the chat. I want all of you to log into pollev.com and give a /Suvarna LAKS123.
It disappeared, madam.
Okay, thank you. You can choose one of the options to use technology to teach language.
4G.com, Suvarna, Lakshmi. 4G.com. करूँगा लॉगिन करूँगा साइन
Yeah, is the poll over? Let's look at this. Use of technology to teach language. Now, I know how to use is what most of the teachers here have given, which I'm very happy for. And some of you said, I don't know how to use. And wow, it's changing. Most of you said, I don't know how to use. And many of you find it very difficult to learn during this pandemic. It might be because there is a sudden shift from one paradigm of teaching face to face to teach online. And I also find that many of you have said, I have learned how to use it very recently. And I understand many of you are still struggling to catch up what it is, how it is, and what is the result of what's happening online. True, I completely understand your concerns. And based on your responses, let's look at what can virtual classrooms do to us? What are actual advantages using virtual classrooms? And how we as language teachers can make best use of the present condition to reach our students in a better way. One of the major advantages of virtual classrooms is that you have very user-friendly tools. You don't need to be a great kind of software expert or a computer expert or to have computer savvy to become an online teacher. This is something which we just have as a fear, as an inhibition, that something might go wrong when we start using our gadgets to teach online. It's only that it is the way we practice and use it. Once you start getting into this habit, I'm sure all of you will find it as an enjoyment teaching online as well. It's not just teaching face to face. I know we still have this problems of we don't see the face of our audience. We only look at a camera, which is really a dead one for us most of the times. And the smile we give to the camera sitting in front of a system is artificial. I know all these are there. This is completely a different paradigm when compared to what we call as face to face. True, we don't have the physical kind of interaction. You don't see the faces of your students. And even if you see them online, most of the times their uh, videos are switched off, their audios are switched off, so you do not know who is responding to your questions. You do not know how or what expressions the students have. Are they really interested in your class? Are they getting bored with you? You're completely lost related to these. And these are the major constraints that we have. Sure, but still, there is another positive angle of looking at things. So we'll start with looking at how positive it can be related to teaching online. So the first one is it is user friendly. The second one is it gives scope for both synchronous and asynchronous learning and teaching. Now, today I have a class and I'll not be able to deal with the class, particularly at the time it is being scheduled. I have the convenience of recording my class and sharing it with my students, and my students can post their questions and I can respond to them at my convenience. So, that facility you don't have for face to face teaching. It's more engaging. There are variety of ways to ensure learning in the classroom. Um, when you are in the classroom, there is a definite kind of obligation for you that you need to take care of each and every child in the classroom. But when it comes to online, lucky we, I should say, in a way, that only students who are really motivated can continue learning online. And that motivated student lot who comes online and who struggle to really put in their efforts to learn virtually from you are the people who get best benefit from what you're trying to teach. And there are variety of ways. Now in a classroom, it's only the teacher's input that mostly is given to the students. But when we use technology and we go virtual, it is very convenient for us to use number of online tools to engage our students. Like many a times we also see students are mostly engaged in all the video games rather than the games that we ask them to play in the classroom physically. So similarly, online platforms have been created. Lots of learning tools are created that engage our learners and make learning a fun and gaming activity for them. So we completely trust online can be engaging for the learners, because one thing is it's not one source. It's not the teacher's talk, it is always going. So the teacher uses shifts from one mode to another, gives number of games, quizzes, assignments, and ensure that everybody responds to the assignments, because every online response requires the name or the login password, and you are sure that this particular person has responded to your assignment or quiz. And it is more personalized and accessible. Accessibility issues are there, of course, but however, once you have a gadget in your hand, of course, a little better one to be used. So, any of the modern gadgets that you have, like a laptop or a mobile or a tablet, it's easy for you to really access things online. And when you start preparing a lesson and you give chance or choice for all your learners, whether they're fast learners or slow learners, there is a lot of opportunity for everybody to participate and continue learning. And their learning preferences, their expectations are mostly met. When in an offline classroom, that is in a face-to-face classroom, you are supposed to teach at the time that is scheduled to you to take the class, and there is no option for you and the students. But here in a virtual classroom, the students can watch your class at their convenience when they feel that okay, this is a complete kind of class that we are going to have, and I can sit at my own convenience and watch the video to understand the concept. And there is no choice of repeating the same class for a teacher to a student if the student is a slow learner. But in a virtual classroom, the student has all facility to repeat the videos, keep watching the teacher continuously and consistently. So that is something which we have as a facility while we teach online. That's why we call it more personalized and more accessible. It also boosts up the students' creativity and engagement, because uh, in a regular class, there are all possibilities that the students meet each other and they keep exchanging their assignments, they copy from each other and things like that, which are major issues for all of us. But in a virtual classroom, their answers are already seen. So one copying the other's answer and posting it will not help. And automatically, if the same kind of post comes in certain kind of tools that I'm going to tell you, if the same post is posted twice, there is an indication already given there on the top saying that, okay, this is already posted. So that kind of tools we already have that help us really make our jobs easy, understand whether the learner is really responding to the tasks that you have given. Hence, when there is no option, the student surely will get engaged in the learning process with the kind of task that you are giving. Now, some of the major limitations that we have related to online classes, I would like you to I would like all of you to get into this particular. Hello, hello.
Ma'am,
Yes,
please
ma'am, you are
continue.
audible, but the things are not visible.
Are my slides not visible?
Not visible. Perfectly.
Okay. Okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you a link here. So when you join the link, you will be able to respond to my task. You can just enter into this. I'm also showing it online. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you can just enter menti.com. If you have two gadgets, like you have your laptop along with your mobile, you can get into your mobile entering menti.com and give this code 942715. This is a code that can be used. Are you able to access?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get my question?
Your screen is not showing here, ma'am. Some textures are showing there.
Yeah, I'm sharing another screen. I'm not on my PowerPoint.
Oh,
I'm showing another screen now.
okay, okay.
I have registered my opinion.
Okay. I see only couple of you who have responded. Only 3 of you have responded to this.
For others, I think they have not understood what you are asking.
Ma'am,
Yes.
actually, ma'am, here it is showing that this question is not open for voting. Please wait for the presenter to open it. It is
Is it?
showing like that on the screen.
Those are one of the options we have to select and submit. There are 5,
Okay.
7 options, 6, 7 options are there.
Okay. But sir, on the screen, this has been mentioned actually. This has been popped up and it's not letting me get down.
Could you please refresh and continue?
Okay, ma'am.
Because I see a couple of you who have responded already. If there is a problem at my end related to any of these tools that I'm using, you wouldn't
Madam,
be
I'm unable to join this.
Yeah.
The
I
same thing is happening,
see
ma'am.
a couple of you who have already responded to this.
You please go to Google, log into menti.com and enter the code which ma'am has given 942715.
Okay.
942715.
But it is not allowed.
Go to menti.com.
MCM.
Nine four two seven one five is a code.
Ma'am, would you please repeat it for one more time, ma'am?
I've already posted in the chat. Please check.
Okay.
942715.
942715. Okay. Okay. Now I got access, ma'am. Okay.
That's great.
हेलो प्लीज किसी का माइक ऑन है, उसको आप म्यूट करिए.
We can select only one, no, ma'am. One option.
Anup Dhruv or Prasanna Mukherjee, sir.
There are two
Okay, sir.
Anup
questions.
Dhruv and Prasanna Mukherjee.
There are two questions. Okay. Is my screen visible to all of you?
But only question number 2 was visible. What about question number 1?
Question number 1 also you can access it as you go through the same once again.
Madam, I went through it.
Again, we have to use the code, ma'am.
Again, we are getting the same question.
Yes, yes, you need to use a code and go to question number 1 again.
Getting only question number 2, ma'am. I have done it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm also
Not a
having the same.
problem, not a problem. Now let's look at what you have posted as your responses. First option that I have given you, there are 23 members who responded already. We are talking about what are the major problems that we as teachers or teacher trainers have to teach online. So the first one is it takes longer time for planning and execution. Most of you said that is your problem. The highest number of the teachers here said not used to handle EdTech tools, and hence it has become a major problem to look at how these technology tools are being used. So I keep calling somebody to help me technically in these issues and things like that. Yeah, that is another reason. And many of you also said that, okay, it is more time taking to achieve some kind of expertise in the tools that you are supposed to use or you choose to use in your classrooms. And few of you also said, I'm not very sure if my student is the person who is really sitting in the classroom. And assessment is time consuming. And we have twice deprived students in the classroom. Doesn't seem to be a problem to the teachers, surprisingly. Let me explain what it is. Not enough motivated students are there in the classroom. Yeah. Let me explain you uh, to all of you what this twice deprived really means. This actually, I should quote one of my colleagues who used this term in his talk related to online teaching. Our students are divided from the existing societal kind of conditions where we say it is haves and have-nots. And many students who come to our classes have their own constraints related to the socioeconomic backgrounds they come from. So that is a deprived society already. And the second type of deprivation comes with technology once again, hitting all of them. I've been seeing my watchman's daughter struggling to get on to her class where the smartphone that she's using is a low end one, and she struggles a lot to go online, attend the classes with continuous internet connectivity, with continuous power supply to be around, and lots of issues of that kind. And that is deprivation again hitting the girl. That is what it really means to understand our students from the backgrounds they come from, with the facilities they have in understanding and being with us, with all the teaching that we do, with all the efforts that we put in. Yes. One major problem that limits us from going to a very comfortable zone of virtual teaching is internet connectivity with power backup, as I was trying to tell you. Explain it with an example of my watchman's daughter. And second one is a facility to be engaged with the class being aloof. Now, we've already seen one of the participants was asked to mute the phone saying that there is a lot of disturbance from him or from his or her side. So that being aloof from all the kind of disturbances, from all kinds of sounds that come from in and around, and being in a having that private space to get engaged in learning activities is something which is a luxury again, and that is not for everybody. It's not so convenient for everybody to do that. And like now, I have asked all of you to log into menti.com. I might ask you to download this app and start using it. Say, Help English is a wonderful app. I want all of you to start using this Help English app. Now, if such kind of things are part of learning, and you are compelled to have that, the low-end devices will not help your students to really have access to everything, download everything, and start using it very comfortably. And that is another issue that people might have when they come online. That is the storage space and the mobile, the device that they're using, how advanced it is to accommodate everything that is required. And adaptability to sudden paradigm shift is another major issue, which we have already talked about. You're suddenly pushed into, due to this pandemic, into an online situation where even I think Professor Shantana was talking about how we are not able to face the camera. Suddenly, our classes get posted, and thousands or hundreds of them start viewing us. What we thought is something very private happens in the four walls of a classroom is something which is made suddenly public. And we see lots of posts talking about commenting on the teacher, the quality of talk, the quality of pronunciation, the quality of language, and so many other things which actually were not part of our teaching conditions, which we never thought very seriously about. So the teacher's posture, the teacher's audibility, the teacher's pronunciation, clarity in the way he or she explains a concept, all these started mattering not just for our students, but also for the parents, the school managements, and everybody around, anybody who has access to our classes. So, all the stakeholders now have a bigger voice to talk about what is happening in the teaching learning conditions. And that paradigm is a great crisis actually for teachers more than anybody else. And sending comments to all the students to their individual IDs at one time becomes that kind of tool is not very readily available anywhere. And most of the virtual classrooms you have about 40 to 50 students in the classroom, and you want to send a message to everyone, it has to be public, or you have to send individual messages to all the students with their comments. It becomes like each individual mail ID I'll have to open and then start typing the message, give them that kind of comment, which is really a challenging task, particularly time wise. Not sure if my student is responding to my tasks is something which we all found also as a major challenge to teach online. And it takes time for the teacher to give feedback. It does even with face to face, and this is even more challenging because it is not oral one or two words. You need to check your language, the font, and the facility to again communicate with the student, and lots of other issues involved in the whole. And finally and primarily, the teacher's virtual teaching experience or expertise is a major issue. Beyond that, let's also look at we already started looking at the positives of virtual classroom. If in case we start virtual classes, how friendly are these is what we'll discuss. Uh, yes, I did tell you that advantages of the present technologies is that they're very user friendly. You will be guided at every step, be it a mobile or a laptop. You enter a website or you download an app, everything is guided by you. So go here, go next, do this, and all the options related to that. It is only that we need to get used to what are the options that are there on that particular web page or app and use them appropriately. Except for that, that is our kind of convenience and ease to use website. It is more user friendly when compared to what we had about 15, 20 years back. So it is easy to create and archive the classes. I'll show you one or two examples of how this can be created and done, and review the work of the students. Access to parents or guardians is also there. So previously, the parents most of the times used to feel that we don't know what's happening in the classroom. But now the parents very well know what is happening in the classroom. There are other kinds of comments as difficulties of the teachers also. One of the teachers says, now I am not able to stand the way parents come and involve in the classroom. They are not completely aware of what is going from my side and what is happening at the child's end, but still they interfere and start talking, chatting, giving suggestions to teachers, and so on. So that is another major issue. The next one is other apps and tools are accessible. It is not just one platform that you choose, but many of the apps are, they give the facility to embed them into your classroom. We'll look at practically how this can be done. I'll show you one or two classrooms where you can include your students and how you can go ahead with your lessons. Now, some virtual classroom platforms I will be talking about are this one. We'll look at Google Classroom at Mado. There are other classes that many companies now have come up with. Most of the companies said the virtual classes that we design will be free of cost till September 30th. That is what Teams, Microsoft Teams Classroom says. And Classroom that TCS has given also has lots of constraints. It says my classroom is accessible only for corporates. And Admodo and Google Classroom are something which are very famous and have been very comfortably been used by many teachers now. Other platforms like Schoology, Moodle, Doodle, kind of platforms are already existing. It is only that we need to explore. I did not find major kind of differences in the facilities that these classrooms give. It is only like we keep exploring and find it more easy because we started with one type of classroom and we get used to it. Now, I also know that CG Schools has already, your SCRT has given a platform where you can create the classes, but something which is already created somewhere else as material, you also can give it as a link to your website, in your website to your teachers and students, and ask them to access the same classroom. This is very convenient for us to do. I'll also tell you how that can be done. And we'll now look at how to create a class, how to add assignments or materials, and what kind of additional securities do we have, and what kind of accounts or expenditure are we going to meet because of this shift or this paradigm shift? Don't know why the links are not seen. Yeah, now before we get into a virtual classroom, let's look at how we can create our own virtual classrooms. Could you all, do you all have Gmail accounts? Are your mails Gmails?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, if you go to your Google page, I think you can see what I'm showing you on my screen. Is my Google account, my Gmail page seen by all of you?
There's a gray texture on display.
Pardon?
There's a gray texture on display, plain.
Okay. If you click on your Gmail, you open the Gmail page. To the right top corner, you find small dots of 9 dots in a square shape next to your name. Okay.
Yeah.
If you click on it, it shows Google Apps. Could you please click on that and open the Google Apps? Now in the Google Apps, you will find, if you go down, you will find what is called as Classroom. Are you able to see this? Classroom? Yeah.
Yes.
Click on the Classroom. Please click on the Classroom.
Yeah.
You already have your account, so you have a classroom facility that is there. You only need to do is to just beside the apps icon, you have a plus icon here on the top right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Create or join
Please click on plus. Plus will give you two options. Either you join a class or create a class. Now, as of now, I would like you to join my class rather than create a class. So, I will give you an existing kind of classroom. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you all able to see my screen?
No. No.
Ma'am, it's
Isn't
not
my
visible.
screen shared?
It is not visible,
No,
ma'am.
no.
Okay.
The class code.
You see contacts and calendar in the Google Apps of my mail.
Yes, we can see it now. Browse. It asks for class code.
Yes. It is asking you for a class code, right?
Yes.
Is the class code seen now? Is it visible?
Yeah, KOBWQ.
KOBWQ4I. That's a code. Please join the class now.
When did you first speak from a stage?
Are you able to see what is there on my front page already?
Yeah.
I see
When did you?
there are 3 posts already. One is a question that says, when did you first speak from a stage? Another question says, be a public speaker. And the third posting of mine is self-improvement.
Self-improvement.
Right. Now, when you are the teacher, you will be able to post these, and you will also have a facility now, one thing is you also have a facility to reuse this post. And at the same time, if you click on this, yes, I see a couple of you who have joined this one. Yeah, when I have a post, you see beside the post 3 dots. Are you able to see this? Now 3 dots will say edit something. Okay, now in the edit, you have to the right some options given to you. One says, is it for all the students? Should all the students respond to this question or not? Responding to the question, do they have some points? Now, for all the students, or should I want only a couple of my students to, hello?
The options shown are copy link and report abuse. When we tap at the 3 dots, we get 2 options.
Now, you have logged in as a student. You have logged in as a student, so your options are lesser. I'm trying to show you my screen. Please look at the screen.
Okay.
Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. On my screen, as a teacher, I will have these facilities.
Okay.
Okay, so as a teacher, I will be able to choose who are my students who get this assignment and who will not. For example, if I say all students who join my class will get the assignment that I have given. So in case I see, okay, Divya or Venkat or Asmita and Jesse do not need to respond to this particular assignment because they have already done it and they have the expertise in doing it, then I'll delete them and give other kind of options or assignments to those students. So the number of points for responding to this assignment can be given as 1 point or 2 points or something. There is an option again that says due. Due is when is the last date to submit this particular assignment. So I can give you the time, the date and time. Say it's previously given as something. Now we'll give it as, okay, let me say 29th July by 10 a.m. I want all the assignments back. So what topic does this belong to? This belongs to, okay, say how to become a public speaker. Students can reply to each other option I can remove, or I can give that option to the students. It is your choice. Now you also can give a choice to the students to edit their answer even after they post their answers. So you give all these options given here. These are only drop down kind of options you have. You cannot create your own option. That is one of the restrictions or constraints you have while teaching online. You will have to follow what that online facility or classroom platform gives you. All options that they give is what you adapt or use. So finally you say save, and it goes as updated one to all your students. Right. So my classroom, again, the front page of my classroom remains to be the same. Now let's go to the top of the class. You find 4 options here. One is stream. One is team is the main page that you have here. The next one is classwork, which includes quizzes, assignments, and the materials that you would like to share with your students. The next one is people, who are the students in your classroom. And the last one is grades. Grades, of course, doesn't come as an option to be viewed by your students. It is only the option that a teacher can have, the creator of the classroom can have. So with these, you can create your classwork. I'm using an existing class to make things easier for us to deal with. What you can do is, okay, you have this option as create. Under create, you have assignment option. You can have quiz assignment. You can have question. You can have material. You also can repost or reuse already posted kind of material. And before you do anything, you also can give a topic or the title of the assignment you would like to give them. Based on these, you can give tasks related to each of the language skills. Now, I have given 3 particular tasks for 3 different language skills. One is writing skill. So, what is the option that I have given? I said there are not really any lessons posted here. So what I can do is to add some. Say I will copy a link. The link will be my Padlet link. So I created my Padlet, and I can give my Padlet link here for the writing task. So I go back to my writing task. And say assignment. So title is writing on Padlet, and post as required. And add. When I say add, I can add a link. So I'll give my Padlet link here and say add link. Now, what is the topic that this assignment will go under is writing skills. And when is the due date? Due date can be given as today itself. If I would like to give the time, then I should give as 12:15. and I post it in my class. So I can assign this particular task to everyone in the class. From your side, are you able to see what is given in writing skills? Could you please refresh your page once to get the new assignment? Hello, am I there?
Yeah, writing on Padlet.
Yes. Writing related to Padlet posting related to writing skills.
Yeah.
Could you please go through the information that is already given and read all the points that are given under writing skills? Writing involves the following sub skills. One is encoding words and sentences, that is knowledge of orthography, how to write, know the spelling of it, and punctuation marks and things like that. That's the first step. Second one is grammatical accuracy. What is a word order? What is a structure knowledge that that a writer has? And the use of cohesive devices. How do I connect one idea to another? Language wise also, how do I connect one sentence to another, the ideas that are given, and one paragraph to another, make it a complete text with unified kind of ideas. So such kind of cohesive devices you use. Genre or format features. So would you like to write an essay? Would you like to write a paragraph? Is it a report? Is it a letter? Is it an email? So what format? Is it minutes of the meeting and things like that? Knowledge of the content to write, and the writing process involves collecting ideas, that is brainstorming, organizing, stating the themes, discourse structure, conventions that are to be used. With that, when you create as a teacher some task to the students, you will have to predict the validity of your task based on the familiarity. So, what kind of responses do you expect from your students? And how familiar is your student with the task that you have given? And language functions, like what is a style, formal or informal? What is the purpose of writing, which relates to language function? Would you like to convince somebody? Is it a negotiation? Is it generally to sustain the relation? Uh, so, what kind of function of language? The text type as factual or interpretative. What kind of a text would you like to write? What is the register in the sense of words that are to be used? Who will be your audience based on that? You decide on the language and the length. How long should I write? So all these are related to writing. When you understand what are the nuances of writing, that is, or the process of writing that comes from your students, what kind of task can you create that involve at least 3 steps for your student to finally respond to your task? So could you now all click on plus anywhere or add a column anywhere, and on the top add your name, and in the bottom, write 1 or 2 types of tasks that you generally give to your students for writing skills. Yeah, you are expected to start responding to my Padlet. Could you please respond to it? In case you are not able
I've
to
typed.
reach this, in case you are not able to reach this through the Google Classroom that I have asked you to join, please join the Padlet here. Click on the link. You just need to click on the link I posted in the chat and start responding to this. Are you able to join? Once you join the Padlet through the link, you can click on plus anywhere.
Yes.
You can click on the plus to add your post. Are there any difficulties in joining the Padlet and posting? May I repeat? I want you to post 1 or 2 tasks on writing that you would like to give to your students. A writing task that you generally give to your students based on what involves writing and what are the sub skills of writing. Which of the writing sub skills would you like your students to learn and use when they complete this particular task? Did anybody try doing it?
Yeah, I typed it.
Okay. I see 7
There are
contributors.
two. I can see 2. Yeah, I can see 2.
I see 7 contributors. One is Kartikeya Sharma, one is Reema Sharma, Stanley John, Rashmi, and 3 of you did not give your names but still contributed. So let me look at what contributions you have made.
Hello, Suvarna ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, I am Prasanna Mukherjee ma'am. I have joined your Padlet, but again shifted into my own Padlet with the same background.
Okay. Please get back to my Padlet. And even in your Padlet, you can see the Padlet that is shared with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that, you will find mine as understanding
Yeah, in
languages
the
writing.
same wallpaper, stone wallpaper. Yeah, I am seeing that.
Yeah.
Stone wall.
So start writing on it, not a problem.
Okay, I am right.
Thank you.
Madam, I'm still not able to write anything.
Why is it so, sir?
Ma'am, same is my problem. Actually, there is no plus sign. I mean, it's not editable for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, 3 dots are there, but not finding the way to write. Could
Because
you please explain how to write?
I'm tapping
Oh,
everywhere
I
and there is no
see
plus
7
sign.
or 8 people already contributing to it. So there is no problem from my end.
Yes, ma'am.
I
We also can see that, but I don't
find
know.
the
This is the problem we
plus
are facing.
sign.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am,
Yeah,
there is
plus
no
sign
plus sign showing.
nowhere.
Plus sign in the mobile,
Yeah, no.
but on the laptop I can see the plus sign, not on the
Yeah,
mobile.
on mobile, I think that's a problem on
I
mobile, ma'am.
tried.
We are using.
Yeah,
We are
No,
connecting.
no, it
problem
is
here.
not related to mobile at all.
Okay.
You only need to scroll down.
Okay. Yes, yes. Now I got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Where, sir? Can you please tell me where?
Scroll down, sir.
Go down. Scroll down, sir.
Yeah. कहाँ से आया था एक बार आया
कहाँ से आ गया था सर?
Okay. Yeah, I see good number of you who have already contributed to this.
Where is the type certificate? Type certificate. टाइप कर दो। ऐड करते जा रहे हैं। अब मोबाइल से कर रहे हैं। सिम कर रहे हैं।
Yeah, let me read out couple of your responses. One says write a notice. One says my school is in Nagri. So write about my school. Write 5 lines about teaching through WebEx. And yeah, one says write 5 lines related to WebEx. Teaching students punctuation is a challenge. Okay, so this is how to teach punctuation to the students. One task is to write an essay or a letter, write an essay on COVID, write a message, write about your village, write a paragraph on your school, write one of the days of your life when you have overjoyed, English for tribal students in Batsar, write an application to class teacher for 3 days leave. Great. So I don't know who this is, but that's a desire I think all of you have now. Writing formal letters, describe your school building using as many adjectives as you can. Of all, only this seems to be a little more specific kind of task. If the number of words is also given, say in a paragraph or so, this task would have been even more relevant to improve your students' writing skills. Thank you all. We'll get back to our Google Classroom. I would like to show you how skills can be taught, particularly using certain kind of online tools. So the second one, if you can see, is a speaking skill. For speaking skill, there is already an assignment that is given, or a text is enclosed to this as an attachment, and if you click you will go to a link. The link says have to be a proficient public speaker or professional public speaker, and it also talks about step-by-step career guide. As a professional public speaker, what are the 4 steps? The text along with the video, both are available to the students. Now, based on the same, they'll have to prepare a 1-minute video and submit is an assignment. Now, the assignment is already given. So, some of my students have responded, and it is assigned to many of my students. This I can see here. Now, moving on to the next one. So I give some kind of text as input and request my students, or I expect my students to respond to my task based on the same. And you have listening skills. For listening skills, there are lots of other tools that can be used, and there is another assignment that is given. Finally, when the assignments are given to the students, this is how your classroom appears. The classwork is already given. Your tasks are given, the number, the points for each of the assignment is given. How many of them responded to your assignment is will be clearly seen as a teacher from your side. And who are the people who are in your class, who logged in at what time, can be given can be seen here in the people page of the classroom. And finally, you have grades. Who are the students? What kind of assignment did I give? Who are the students who responded to my task and who did not is clearly shown in the grades page. This is about Google Classroom. And similar are something like Edmodo. Edmodo also is a very similar kind of classroom that you can have. Now, moving back to our classroom PowerPoint. Now, it is easy for us to create a classroom by just asking that particular web platform to create a classroom or join a classroom. Be it Google Classroom or Edmodo, these two are very common kind of classrooms that are available. Teams, as I was telling you, Microsoft Teams is free only till September. Most of the online tools now are very commercial. and you will have to carefully choose the tools, and you will have to get on online to use that facility. And now, teaching language skills particularly also should involve some kind of understanding of their sub skills and what are involved in the process of doing or becoming proficient in that particular language skill. Now, if it is listening skills, these are the ones. Now, you already have looked at what writing involves. Similarly, are the other skills. Writing is a productive skill for which some kind of input is to be given. And before the input is given, you cannot expect the students to, like, for example, most of you have said, write a letter or an email, write about something, write an essay on, and things like that. To make your student come to that state of getting into writing, there are some inputs that are to be given by the teacher on what is expected specifically from the student. Your students to this particular question on write about your school building can be written in 30 words and also can be written in 300 words. So whose do you consider as a teacher to be the right response to your assignment? How do you rate it? How do you grade it? So it is the responsibility of the teacher to give more clarity on how you are supposed to, how you expect your learners to respond to your task. That is where we need to really work on language skills, which brings in some kind of uniformity in the responses and in the way your students respond to the tasks that are given to them. Language tasks particularly require more specificity when compared to others. These cannot go in as a very vague one. For example, you can't ask a student suddenly in the class to stand up and speak on a particular topic for 1 minute. For this, the student also has to be mentally prepared to speak for 1 minute without a break. And if that is suddenly given to a student in the classroom, the student doesn't know how to do, there is no example for him, him or her, and there are lots of other issues that come into maybe that is the first time the student is asked to stand up in the class, maybe the student is afraid of his grammar or is not very comfortable in speaking in English. He has fluency problems, he has accuracy problems. So how do you expect such student to suddenly stand up and perform in your class? Finally, we as teachers will be rated low because our students are not able to perform. And the student is also rated low by you because the student did not perform. This is where we as language teachers have to start thinking about what input should be given to make the student perform to the expected level of your task. So the tasks that we give, the language tasks that we give in a classroom are to be very clearly designed to be executed with lot of ease in the classroom. The minute the student sees the task, the student should know what is to be done without further questions, which means complete information on your expectation of the task is to be given to the student as input. Now, how do you give it? For you as a teacher, from your side, you need to understand what these language skills really involve. What are the sub skills of it? What is the cognitive processing that is required to really achieve some kind of proficiency in the skill? Is what we as teachers need to do as homework. Most of the times, we give lots of input to the students. However, the way we design the task doesn't go very smooth or very easy to the student, and the student is left in a chaos. The students are confused. They do not know what you expect them to do, and so the response will be very poor, or the quality of response is very low. To avoid this, with all the efforts that we as teachers put in, to avoid any kind of low performance from our learners, something which we need to do as an additional kind of homework is to give clarity in what you expect. What strategies do the students need to use to complete this particular task? Some hint to say there is specificity. For example, the same, write a paragraph, write about your old school building can be modified as you are expected to complete this task in, say, 100 to 150 words. It can be written in 2 or 3 or 1 paragraph. So how many paragraphs are you expecting the student to write on? So for example, if you say 2 paragraphs, the first paragraph can talk about the beauty of it, and the second paragraph can talk about the academic activities that take place in the old school building. So if these suggestions are given, the student already knows that the audience for the writing will be only you, and that is for a mark. So the student will be very conscious of what he or she is writing, as there is some kind of assessment that will take place at the end of the task. They'll not do it very easily. Like how they used to scribble their homework and bring to us will not happen when it is a virtual classroom, because the response that you have given now on the Padlet, if the response is the same and all the students read each other's responses, you completely understand that the of your peers. So there is peer pressure to perform better from the student. So the student is compelled to perform better, as a student will not be willing to rate himself or herself low when compared to his peers. That is an advantage of virtual classroom, and the care that a teacher should take to give any kind of language task online. Now let's look at this reading. I would like all of you to go into this particular link and do a bit of small gaming exercise. Generally, we expect the students to read a text and come back to us with answers based on the reading text. We feel that we have done a very good job by giving a number of questions to the students on the reading text that we have shared with them, or the reading text that is already there in their textbooks. Most of the times, it is also understood that the teachers take the responsibility of reading the text to the students. They analyze, they give the meanings, they interpret the text on behalf of the students. And the teachers feels at the end of the class that the teacher has done a wonderful job. Now, how does a learner in your class learn how to read if the teacher is doing this job? Now, may I listen to 2 or 3 of your classroom experiences related to teaching reading? I request the class to respond to me. Teachers, could you please share your experience of teaching reading in the classroom? How do you generally do? Am I audible? Hello. What do you generally do? We only read the text line by line loudly. Thank you, Farheen, for being very frank. This is something which which we as teachers have as misconception. My research with class 8 students was a great revelation to me that class 8 students can read a text and uh, interpret the text on their own, along with creating multiple meanings to the text. And this was done by class 8 students in a 3-tier town, a small school which is called English as a medium of instruction, but nothing more of English is given to them except by the English teacher, which commonly happens in most of the schools that claim to be English as medium of instruction. But in that school, when I gave tasks to the students to read the text on their own and keep responding to the questions that are not factual, which did not ask any kind of direct questions where answers can be found when they read the text, but have to infer the meaning and interpret the text, the students were able to do it on their own. This shows that the students are capable of reading, and if the teacher does this job of reading out the text in the class and explaining the text to the students will never learn how to read. And that is why even after coming to the university, many of the students struggle to read an article on their own and comprehend it. They expect somebody to help them. They expect somebody to summarize it for them. So they keep searching on the website. What novel is this? What kind of literary text is this? What kind of reviews does it already have? Because they're not capable of doing it on their own. So I request all the teachers to stop reading in your classes. Do not ever explain things to your students. Help them read the text on their own. Help them find the meanings of the new words that they encounter, and finally, help them infer the text from different perspectives. It all depends on the task that you give at the end of the text. Yes, I see a question from one of our Sisir he says students can skim and respond to intended queries. Is it not easy if the questions are put up, madam? Now, students can skim, but skimming is just 1 minute, 2 minute activity. Why don't you ask them also to scan? Why don't you ask them to interpret the text on their own? Don't you think that engages our learners in reading activity when compared to the teacher reading it to the class? Now I'm teaching online and I have a class of 30 or 40 students. I keep reading in my online class. What do you think will be the response of my students? I hardly reach any of them. They're not really with me because it is a talk for myself. They won't sit at the system. There could be lots of issues related to any of the, starting from your connection problems to your audio problems to any problems that can crop up technically. And why should the teacher read a reading text that is given to the students? So ask the learners to read the text at home and come back responding to the questions or assignment that you have given. Your job is 100 times made easy. You need not exert a lot of energy. You need not worry about the student's commitment to complete the assignment. You need not think about whether the student has read and understood the text or not, because you already guide them. If they do not have or if they do not really know how to read the text on their own and understand, they take the help of a dictionary. They struggle initially. That is not an issue at all. Let them take their own time for the first 2, 3, 4 sessions to read the text on their own and come back. Now, yours is a flipped classroom now. You're not going to teach everything online. So, your major task is only to create tasks, give the students that task as homework, come back with the responses and review them in the classroom. That makes online or virtual teaching and learning very interesting, because the students will read out their answers to the rest of the class. The students will understand what the teacher is trying to teach them, and they perform very well when compared to the teacher reading the text. Yeah, this is again another misconception. One of our friends says our students are unable to do that. They cannot read the text on their own. And so we can't come directly to comprehension, it's challenging. Now, one major question I have is, when we say the student cannot read a text, is the student not able to read any text in any language? Is it the same with L1? Are they not able to read it? And if they can read it in L1, which means the basic reading skill is there, their ability to read is there with them. And if the same can be given even in L2, the language skills are transferable. And this is an established theory that the skills are transferable. Once I know how to read letters into words and words into sentences to understand the text, I can do it in any language in a similar way. I do it in Telugu, I do it in English, I do it in Hindi, and I do it in any foreign language that I learn. So the transferability of skills will help the learner have that cognitive ability to read and understand a text. Maybe initially they do not know how to pronounce the words. Help them out. Initially, that guidance, that support is to be given by the teacher. And we are not talking about very young kids. We are not talking about kindergarten kids sitting in our classes in virtual classrooms. We are talking about secondary school or high school. So if you ask the students to read complete reading on their own, not a complete text, don't frighten them saying you read the whole lesson and come to the next class tomorrow. Let them read on and let the whole class share their reading of the text. So each one is assigned one paragraph. The text will surely have 20 to 25 paragraphs. If it is a high school text, generally that is what I see in our textbooks. It might be slightly different related to the length, but sure, they'll be able to read those 4-5 lines and come. They struggle. They put in their effort. They take the help of somebody. They also call up their friends, parents, take their help and complete. They do the exercise, but that will be initial struggle. Once they get on track, it'll be very easy for all of us to guide them achieve this reading skill. And once they're good at reading, they'll be good at all other skills. There is no doubt about it, because reading acts as an input to all other output skills, to both the other output skills, I should say, speaking and writing. And once they're good at speaking and writing, the proficiency level of the student is already better. Now, I see some responses given by a few of our friends here. They can read text both in first and second language. Brief, consistent questions help comprehension. That's great, sir. That's true. ask other groups to respond. Group kind of tasks will help students to do a great job. They create wonders in the classroom. Give an introduction or a hint, then ask them to read the text and then make some questions factual. Some questions can be factual and some questions can be interpretative. Apart from these, let me also tell you, any reading text should have pre-reading, while reading, and post-reading kind of division. Now, before reading, what is that introduction you would like to give? How do you like to introduce a text to the students? And while reading, what are the questions or tasks that the student has to do? Underline the new words, refer to the dictionary, or refer to the glossary given at the end of the text. Check if the word is already given and the meaning of the word is already given. If not, switch to a dictionary. Find the meaning of the word, then incorporate that meaning, or train them how to use a strategy of inferring the meanings of new words from the context. Compare them with the meaning that is given in the dictionary. So that kind of guidance will help them really comprehend the text and gain some kind of confidence in reading or handling a text on their own. The teacher is never going to be constantly and continuously with the student. The student finally has to deal with language skills on their own. And that is what is expected primarily. I hope all of you have completed the Quizlet. Here, but I don't see much of a time left for us. So let's go to this task now. Like how you did for the writing task, I would like you to get into this page. Click on the web page that is link that is given here and start posting the way you would like to teach reading skill to the students. What type of task would you like to give them? Is it read the text aloud for them, or would you like to do something else? Are you able to log into this? Are you able to log into this?
What next?
You are supposed to click on the center and drag or click anywhere on the web page. You have plus on the top. Can you see that? On the top of the web page, you have a plus symbol. So you click on the plus symbol. You can would you like to reading? Now this seems to be a vague kind of task that I gave. Now I will also add some that can make things very easy. The task can be, will the task pattern be a pre-reading, while reading, or post-reading task? For example, I ask a student to break the text into paragraphs, and after each paragraph, which is while reading, after each paragraph, I'll ask some questions to ensure basic comprehension took place with each paragraph. And finally, I'll ask the student to summarize the text. So this is one type. Another type is I give it as a group activity, divide the class into groups to complete reading and summarizing the text. So that is another way of doing. So how would you like to do it in your classroom? Is what I'm asking. I see 5 of you who have registered for this. Okay, that is another task. I'll anyway share my PPT with all of you. You can get into the same link and start doing these tasks as practice. Not a problem. I don't see many of you responding to this. I am not very sure if you are able to log into my page or not.
No, ma'am.
You need to log in with your Gmail ID.
Doesn't show login.
You click on the link, log in with your Gmail ID.
That did.
Hello.
That is done, ma'am.
Okay. Did you get into the page that is that talks about at the center types of tasks to teach reading?
Sure.
On the top of the page, you see a plus symbol. On the top of the page, you see a plus symbol. If you click on that, you will be able to complete the task. Anyway, we will learn this in a little detail after we finish our topics. Yes, we are still with reading ones. Now, there are lots of tools that can be used to teach online, which makes the class very interesting for the students. The first one, we already looked at Padlet. And yeah, the second one is bandicoot.com. Bandicoot.com is something that can be used to edit the videos that exist online. So you can download a YouTube video and you can edit it. You can go to TED Talks, you can go to number of other video talks which are available online for free, and you can download them, edit them as per the content and the length of the video, and share it with your students. So Bandicoot is one of the tools of that kind. You have onlook.com. This is one of the tools that helps the students get everything related to one word. You also have lots of books, lots of reading materials available online with certain kind of tools like pdfdrive.com, goodreads.com. You have already used 4 of these with me. One is proprof.com that will help you match, give different kinds of puzzles. One of the puzzles that I gave here is match, which you can do a little later. Now there is mentimeter.com. Mentimeter is what I used for your polling. MindMeister is something which I use now for your tasks. And Padlet also I gave you for a similar kind of task. This is about speaking skill.
Ma'am, we can't see your screen. Please share your screen.
Sure. Why is it not shared? Okay. Now there are lots of online education resources which are free and available across. I gave a list of online free education resources which help you get lots of lesson plans, lessons, already completed designed lessons with input text along with different tasks. So when you go through these, you will also be able to discover that there are lots of chances for us to have different texts, carry them into the classroom, make our classes very engaging, make our classes very interesting for our students. And the future challenges for us, this is the last slide. Teachers turning into technocrats. This is something which we did not want to do before, but we are forced to do now. Many of us didn't like to get into the field of technology, into the field of sciences, but now we are forced to become technocrats. We are forced to become computer savvies, and many of the things that we are not completely aware of are happening with us. So such kind of change is expected from us. Training for teachers is required because of this paradigm shift. Most of us are not trained, most of us are not used to use any of these gadgets. Now we are suddenly forced to get into it. So some kind of self-training is required. Now we cannot expect an institution to call us all and keep on training us. Training doesn't seem that it can be coming from outside like ELTI has taken an initiation, but training has to happen within ourselves, with ourselves. You register for all free online courses that teach you a number of things. You don't even have time for it, leave it off. Get into YouTube, click on how to use this particular tool, click on how to open a Google Classroom and use different facilities of it. It easily comes to you. Yes? Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Is there any kind of issue from my side?
No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, time for preparation is to be accountable. I understand that. And normal time to prepare for a class in a face-to-face mode is not the same as time to prepare for an online class. It is even, it takes longer time, particularly for us, because we are not technocrats or techno-savvies. We need to understand the tool we need to know how it is to be used. We also need to think from the other side, how it can be protected from students misusing the tool. For example, the Google Classroom page, the front page has a facility to allow the students to post whatever they think. A page on Edmodo front page will appear similar to what you have on your Facebook. Any student can post. To stop it, you also need to know how to stop such kind of postings from the students. You say only the teacher can post. You say only 1, 2, 3 students can post. Anybody can interact with anybody. Would you like the students to start their class saying, hello, hi, everybody, and would you like to create that kind of healthy learning in informal healthy learning environment? Or would you like to have it as a teacher holding kind of class where the teacher has control over everything? So dependent on the same, you will give certain kind of facilities for your students to be very participative in the virtual classroom also. So that preparation is something which we have to do. We need to train ourselves. We need to spend the time. We need to understand the tool that we are giving to the student. And this really calls for a lot of effort from our side, but we don't have an escape now, unfortunately. And ensuring learning or gaining knowledge is supposed to be happening from our side. The kind of task that we create and give to the student has to be very specific, requires or calls for very simple, specific responses from our students. Don't expect them to write something when they do not have any input related to the same. So what kind of assessment procedures would you like to adopt? What kind of scores of tools are there? Say like one of the tools that I used now are very few tools that I introduced to you. If you want to get into making any quiz, any assignment, any test that you would like to create, there are scores of tools that are there online. And all these ask for multiple choice, one word, matching, which are easy to assess. Your right answer is already there. Only single right answer is there. It is already existing. And the minute the student completes the task, you get the score. So this way, it is easy for us to assess the students. It is also easy for the student because the student need not sit at the system for a long time, type long essay answers to us, not of that sort. So you will have to think of what tool is appropriate for what kind of task you give, and you also have to think about the security issues. So with all this, the teacher has to equip himself or herself, be very specific when it comes to language skills. Now, I would like all the students to learn how to skim the text. So I give 4 different texts. Say I have 5 minutes now for you to complete reading the text and give me what the text talks about. So the general theme or global kind of understanding of the text is to be given. So within 5 minutes, if it is 4 texts of 1 page length, the student will definitely start reading the title of the text, then move on to what are the major kind of words that are prominently given, the capital lettered words, the proper nouns, the numbers, the beginning and ending of the paragraphs, and quickly finish reading the text within 1 minute, which is skimming. You're teaching the sub skill skimming. Now you give a page of vacancies and ask a student to tick the jobs that are relevant to a teacher that are advertised today. So 1, 2, 3, scanning. So how do you really train your student in real time skills? That is what is more important and more interesting for a student than what your textbook really says to do. However, going beyond the textbook may not be something possible for all the teachers to have that freedom to teach what they think is relevant to the students. So all these can be used as supplementary material in your classroom, and the general reading text and the units that are given can be given in a flipped model. They do it at home, come to the class and start discussing. So these are the easy ways of improving reading skills and all language skills in your students. Let them be very engaged in the process of learning, and let them also feel that they're really learning something from the classes. With this appeal, I close my class now. I'm ready to take the questions just for 5-10 minutes because I already exceeded the time by 7 minutes. I once again thank all the participants for being active in this session, and I'm sure most of you were a little confused of what to do and how to do with most of the tools that I have introduced today because you did not have enough of time to get acquainted with them. I understand your technical problems, not to worry about them. It is only time, like it is very easy for us to really access these tools and start working on them. So do not worry about it. I'm giving you a short assignment, which I expect you to complete by day after tomorrow. The assignment is you're already taught how to write lesson plans, and the lesson plan, how it can be focused on one particular skill. That Professor Santana has really done a very good job. So once you're used to getting these tools, which I'm going to share even as part of my PPT, you are expected to do a 45-minute lesson uh, uh, of 3 classes. Include all language skills and language elements, a very clear demarcation of classes and sequencing as per the task demands is necessary. So this is your assignment. You can submit it to, I think, Asmita, and you also can send it to me. My email ID also I'll post in the group. Now, open for questions if you have any.